first of all, I'd like to thank you for taking time out of your busy day to come and have this presentation and see this presentation with us. I'd like to start off by introducing our team here at CSJV. So it's myself, Michael, here, the project manager. I've had the pleasure of working with Denise before, so we know a bit about each other from the past. We seem to get on fairly well, so I'm looking forward to working with you again in the future. To my right here we have Flo, principal designer.
Good morning.
Yeah, I think Flo has worked with a company as well through different sites. He said he's quite happy to be working with you again. I've got Stefan, the health and safety director. I've got Vasily, our contracts manager. Manny, our commercial manager, and our newest recruit, Gab, senior quantity surveyor. Gab's come highly recommended to us, and I have to say he's doing a great job so far. So we're looking forward to hearing from him in a while. So, if I could start off, I'd just like to hand you over to Flo.
Good
He's
morning.
going to start us off here.
This is the package of works that we've been putting together. We compiled this document for you guys to have an idea how we're going to manage the works. So this document is going to be available at the end of the meeting for everyone. Everyone's going to have a copy. I'm looking forward to your comments. We're not going to elaborate too much, but we're going to go over the main things because it's a massive document. So this document has been created by Vasily and it's been checked by Stefan. We approved it. We're happy to go ahead. The CITB project health and safety director has been informed and he's got a copy of this as well. Right, scope of works. We've been awarding Bramley Village enabling works contract for HS2. We've been awarding demolition works to Gilpin Demolition. The following construction plan and site setup has been put together by our management team and it meets the current H&C legislation. To prepare for the demolition activities, we identified several works that need to be taken place before. So removal of hazardous liquids left on site from previous occupations. So we can see in the office building, we need to demolish it. The demolition exclusion zones are to be created within the site prior to works. Formation of safe pedestrian and vehicle routes and provision of temporary water supply for demolition activities. Working hours will be Monday to Friday. Start time will be 8 and finish time no later than 6 o'clock in the evening as per section 61 amendments. All personnel will be inducted and sign up to the ramps. All of this must attend start of shift briefings, task briefings and cascade briefings. All personnel will present relevant cards, tickets in line with their roles and responsibilities. We have given a series of examples of the construction safety schemes that we work with. CCDO for demolition, CPCS and CSCS as a standard. No one on site will go in with no CSCS, and all the demolition personnel will have CCDO qualifications. Machine operators will also hold their training certificates specific for the plan they're using. I'm going to hand you over to Vasily to go through the program of works and potentially.
No, sorry, we're going to hand over to Gab first.
We're going to hand over to Gab. Sorry about that.
Hi, good morning everyone. So as we're going to start this project, we have only 5 days to finish this. So to ensure we are the best, we're going to do it in only 5 days. It's going to start on 21st of this month. And to attend the coordination meeting, we have one site manager who's going to be available for all the moments. Also, the risk assessments, all of them you can find on the apprentice one, and activities and isolations, barriers and etc. We're going to separate the areas. First, we're going to start with some fence for exclusive zone, and the walker will be separate, so there was not going to be some issue with that. Also, operation might affect others. The entrance of will be on via Old Attack Road, which is the main entrance. This one here, so you guys can see on the map. We're gonna have pedestrian around there, so we have a bankman to be in charge to make the safety area. Induction to the toolbox talks. will be taken by all site staff with CSJV. Prior to arrive on the site, all personnel will be included to the specific runs. Priority to any work will commencing. Two box tools relevant to the other work in progress will be completed and weekly basis. At the moment, we have no temporary service. I'll pass the word to Michael.
Just I'm just going to hand straight over to Flo. He's going to go through.
As part of the works, the environmental considerations that we've taken into account are existing services overhead and underground, buried services. Any known buried services identified in the site topographic and ground penetrating surveys will be physically located and clearly marked. We elaborated a little bit more in this document. I'm not going to go through the whole details. The main things: Japanese knotweed will be segregated from plant and people with physical barriers. In terms of we have a separate risk assessment for this works. We'll be provided booth wash for anyone that needs to go in the area, and all the plant that will be used in the area will be washed and to avoid cross contamination. Overhead services. There's an overhead service present southwest corner of the site. Would you like to identify that on the map for us, Michael? The overhead service on the southwest, yeah. That won't interfere with any of the works, but will be briefed to all personnel. Adjacent structures, including buildings and waterways that we have identified on the map as well. Storage of chemicals as required under KOSH. As we know, we are dealing with some heavy chemicals on this site. Because it was a factory, we've got old fuel tanks found in the factory and chemicals. These will be stored 10 meters away from any waterways or drains, together with all of our KOSH equipment such as diesel, petrol mixes, lubricant grease, and any gases that we're using, LPG, oxygen, and propane. Right, so like I said, machine fuels and oils will be stored in a bonded lock container 10 meters away from any water course. There is a section 61 consent that we got from the council for this particular works. What it covers is basically noise and vibration mitigation measures. Obviously, I'm not going to go too much in depth into this, but it is unlikely our works will not generate noise levels over 85 decibels. So for this purpose, noise monitoring for the whole duration of the project will be undertaken on the site perimeter during our working activities. In the event site thresholds are exceeded, the works will be ceased until additional control measures are in place. Other aspects that might impact on our work and environment will be vibration, dust, and noise. Refueling, all primary fueling will be undertaken in designated areas, again 10 meters away from any known water course or side drains. We got the general site rules, housekeeping, designated storage, exclusion zones, lighting. The works will be completed where possible in daylight hours. Outside of this time, the site lighting will be supplemented with task lighting such as lighting towers. Waste arrangements, because this is a big thing on this site. Waste transfer nodes will be generated for all waste movements from site. The waste carrier and destination will be appropriate for the materials removed. Air quality, we covered this on a non-road mobile machinery. All plants over 37 kilowatts will meet the non-road mobile machinery requirements of the work in accordance with the Euro 3B or better. Another section 61 consent we enclosed within this document that covers the vibration and manual handling. I'm going to hand you over to Michael for our plant equipment materials and welfare section.
Thank you very much, Flo. Right, so plant equipment and materials and welfare on the site. So following equipment will be used to undertake the works. So we're going to have a 21-ton demolition specification excavator with a bucket, a grab, and a shear. The excavator will be equipped with all-round CCTV to help vision, and also we will have a traffic marshal or banksman in place to with two-way radios just to supplement this and to help the driver and make sure everything is safe. The machine will be fitted with oil-quick couplings to provide fully remote attached exchange. The operator would hold a CCDO D90 card as a minimum certificate of competence. As a default, the demolition excavator will operate with a full exclusion zone, which will be inside here. It'll have a full exclusion zone, and where activities necessitate operatives to enter, they'll enter. So if people do need to come into this area, we use the thumbs up system. Get the thumbs up to avoid being knocked down. Other machinery on site will have a twin vibrating roller We'll have some waste oil tankers coming in because we have identified some old waste oil tanks inside the building. So we'll have waste oil tankers coming in to clean them out, but they will have to be bronze compliant with fours and be fitted with a Euro B1 powered plant unless it is an exempt vehicle. Hand tools on site, we're going to have a petrol disc cutter operated by a competent person and making sure of abrasive wheel training, with consideration and mitigation of dust, noise, sparks as appropriate. Also, all halves will be recorded for all operatives for the duration and controlled by the supervisor for the works. Battery operated impact driver will have halves records. We're going to have oxy and propane obviously for taking the steel out of the building and burning. So this will be stored separately in the storage area here. The bottles will be used upright and by a competent person and will be using a hotworks permit system. A copy of the Guildford Demolition Hazard Risk Assessment is contained in Appendix B, which is at the end of our document. If you're feel free to have a look at it when we hand it to you, and if you have any questions, come back to us. The plant will be inspected by a competent operator, faults recorded in the plant book and reported on a daily basis in accordance with Pure regulations. Any faults will be reported to the demolition site foreman for rectification, and anything that can't be rectified, the machinery will be taken off site and replaced. The following materials to be used on site: Harris Finson for these exclusion zones, and this will change as and when needs to for the temporary design of the site. There will be 6F2 material brought in and stored here. We will have roll-on, roll-off skips here for segregating waste, timber, different things coming out of the building. There will be Elite Legato blocks, hazardous liquid waste disposable tanker, chapter 8 fencing for walkways and things like that, mass barrier units, keeping people back from the electric line, sandbags, and where sufficient, welfare sufficient for the numbers and the tasks provided by principal contractors. So I'm going to go through the welfare a bit more in depth with you in a minute. Reference to all risk assessment, i.e. specific cost risk assessment, has been completed in addition to the overall risk assessment, and risk assessments within full plan document of work, so you can see section 4.7 in the document that you'll be given. This action shall include welfare facilities, location and details. So for our welfare, we've gone with these cabins, which are all energy saving cabins to try and protect the environment as much as possible. So our welfare area will be located in this area here. They are all DBS 6165 specification. The toilets will have a stored drainage unit, and this will be emptied every Tuesday by someone like Biomarsh. There'll be washing facilities in the toilets. I'll come back to the toilets. Yeah, so there's washing facilities in the toilets, male toilets, female toilets. We have enough toilets for everyone on site. There will be also hot water, soap, and means of drying hands in the toilets, and toilet paper. This will be checked and replenished when needed. There's also there's also a decontamination shower there. We have on the wall we have also barrier cream, sunscreen, heavy and light duty soap and moisturizer. And again, this will be checked and replenished daily. Yes, in our canteen we're going to have a drinking water fountain for fresh water. We're having 2 canteens on site for social distancing. We'd get away with one if it wasn't for COVID, but obviously for social distancing and extra precaution, we're going to have 2 canteens on site. I'll go through the layout of the canteens now. So canteens inside, there will be, like I said, a fountain with drinking water in each one. This is replicated through the 2 of them. So each canteen will have a water fountain with a 50-litre bottle of water. There will be 4 water bottles kept in reserve, and this will be checked every Tuesday and Friday, and new bottles will be ordered as necessary. Canteen will also contain 2 number microwave ovens, 2 number kettles, 2 number fridges, a supply of tea and coffee. Sink will have hot and cold water for washing dishes. There will be 4 tables in each and 1 chair at each table, again for social distancing. So we're going to stagger break times, so obviously not everyone will be going to the canteens at the same time. So we're going to stagger our break times to allow for this to be working safely and again to maintain slightly more social distancing. Okay, on to the changing rooms. The changing rooms will have lockers and secure storage for any clothes that are not worn on site. There will be separate male and female changing rooms. All cabins will be heated and ventilated as needed, and to also inside the main office there is a first aid box which will be replenished when required, and also a defibrillator. We have a separate security cabin here for this cabin for the security man, and this cabin will have one kettle, one microwave, and we will have one porta toilet here which will be emptied weekly. On to the traffic management plan. So as you can see, our traffic will leave site. We have an A road and a B road. So traffic coming to site will be turning from an A road onto a B road. So we've had a talk with the council and we're in agreement that we can place signage all along this route, and signage to say that vehicles will be entering and coming out here. This is just to make things a bit safer for traffic on the road and pedestrians using the footpath. I don't know if you're aware of this, but on average, every year, 7 workers die as a result of moving vehicles and plants on construction site, and a further 93 are injured. Now, to me, these are horrific figures, and we want to do everything we can to keep this as low as possible. So every vehicle approaching site will use their hazard warning lights, and each vehicle must be FORS compliant and clocks compliant, and must have full CCTV around the vehicle. If it doesn't, it won't be accepted on site. But this will be agreed with all delivery personnel beforehand. All workers will park in a designated car park with reverse parking only near our offices here. For lorries that do approach the site, they will get signed in and signed out by the security man. Then the traffic marshal will escort them through the site. If they're bringing the 6F2 or if they're going to the roll-on, roll-offs, they will come in, do almost 3-point turn, come in, do reverse down, tip their load or collect their skip, and drive out, all banked by a traffic marshal. So that's it. Yes, also we have a separate gate for pedestrian access to keep everyone separate. Now, you might have noticed we've taken over this car park, so we have an agreement with the people working in this office that we're going to put them into this car park, and we're going to supply a shuttle bus to bring them to their work. This keeps them separate from any work traffic, any work on-site traffic. In their name, we have made a charitable donation to Cancer Research UK, just as a goodwill gesture for them helping us out and for us helping them out. So on that note, that's our traffic management plan. I would now like to hand you over to Stefan.
Good. Hello, my name is Stefan. I'll be speaking about safe system of work. The external matters that have decided our system were the electricity line power, which means 30 meters left and right, not doing or raising anything. So in order, because of that, we wanted to avoid our big vehicles to be running, so like such as crane in this direction. This is why we have used this secondary access, and as my colleague mentioned before, the footpaths segregate the pedestrians for the vehicles, and the offices have this kind of access, while the cars are this kind of access. Another restriction was due to our drain, which supposed 10 meters distance. This is why storage is not will never be installed in this area. Some other things, we have asbestos here, so a red zone would be in this building, meaning people get there only with full PPA and authorization and permits, and a blue area where people, assigned workers, are not in mandatory conditions to all full PPA on themselves, but other unauthorized people don't get in the blue area. We also have this Japanese knotweed, which is marked.
5 minutes to go! 5 minutes to go.
Surely you know how to tell us all.
Which is a red zone also. Just in case of fire or emergency, we have emergency exits through our fence here and here. What I haven't mentioned, and it's important, our site is the red mark zone. So in order for people to know what are we talking about. Storage here, parking place for the gasoline and petrol vehicles which are mobile. So, but for the stationary matters, this is the position. Smoking areas and fire extinguishers and water systems spread on the site depending the subzone where certain activities are done. Also, because we inherit this site, the materials found there will be investigated by specialists and then segregated and plotted here, and then they will be put in the normal process of this kind of activities. I'll hand over to my colleague Vasily the next chapter.
Hi, my name is Vasily. I'm contract manager. I will explain the emergency procedure and first aid arrangements. Is site-wide emergency arrangements will be explained in some introduction. The master points are placed in runs from Old Arch Road. We have is two fire exit is one here and one here, and then a second point is the old car park here, and people just fire have to walk it. Is a footpath here and then some point car park. Emergency contact details are to be included in the start of the shift briefing. This will include contact name, telephone number, and location of the nearest A&E department. Each for this project is Bromley Hospital. Fire safety arrangement details below is the fire extinguishers and emergency equipment relative to work will be made available before work project. We have 6 fire alarms, and extinguisher is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One is in a outside side, where is the assembly point, and emergency service will be summoned by use mobile telephone, and as well all the supervisor and the manager will be supplied with the radio. And the most important things is all accident and everything need to be reported to the project manager.
Thank you very much. We'll just hand it back over to Flo again, just to go through the risk assessments.
We did identify a general risk assessment for the general activity that's going to be naming works. A task briefing risk assessment will be done daily. This particular one has identified the main risks and most dangerous ones and how we're going to mitigate them. This particular risk assessment is available at the end of this presentation for you guys to have a look. We are capable of carrying quantitative risk assessments such as hazard, operability, and analysis studies. However, a legal requirement to carry out a score risk assessment there is no legal requirement for this, so it's entirely subjective. They are purely subjective. The score awarded for any given analysis can differ greatly depending on the experience and opinions of the assessor. Therefore, we haven't provided a scored risk assessment. The below hazards have been identified as significant risk associated to the specific demolition project. Control measures have then been put in place to reduce, isolate, control the likelihood and severity of the hazard as far as reasonably practiced. This is our risk assessment.
1 minute to go.
It's a big document. I'm not going to go through it. The main risks have been identified: working at height, planned and operated excavator movements, unforeseen circumstances, buried services, heavy transport. How are we going to deal with them? Who's going to be at risk, and how are we going to mitigate them? At the end of the presentation, there's also our Appendix B, which contains our subcontractors' halves risk assessment form. This is just a draft. This will be used in accordance with the health and safety law and when any vibration tool is being used on site. please feel free to go over the document, and we are expecting your questions.
Yes, thank you very much, guys, for listening to us. That's our presentation, and we're happy to take a Q&A from anyone who's had anything to ask.
Let's give him a round of applause first, shall we? Well done. That's exactly 25 minutes. Well done. Right, okay, I'm encouraging questions from the floor, Woody.
You state you've got a 5-day job. It's a 5-day job.
That was a mistake. Straight away.
Oh no, I don't know. Anyway, you state it's a 5-day job and you've got a site manager. What provisions have you got in place if the site manager falls ill?
If the site manager falls ill, we have, I mean, we're a big company, we've got other site managers who have been briefed and will also be inducted and ready to come at any time to the site.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes.
Have you made an allowance for non-English speaking workers?
Yes, in induction, we have a procedure in place for a non-English speaking worker, and we have a risk assessment for that, and obviously we have some, like, the people that we have in line for doing this job, it's 10 men, we know who they are. There is some non-English speaking, but we have a guy to translate for them. Yeah. Thank you.
What kind of security measure you have on site when, for example, no one will be on site?
Yeah, this is covered in our document, so
Yes,
Cindy
yes.
can answer or Flo.
I'm going to take you through that. We go 24-hour security. We go 4 security guards on 2 shifts, 12-hour shifts, 2 at a time. Full CCTV on site, and the details will be included in this document. It's all here in terms of security. Yes, I can take you through that. If that's there you go.
As you can see, security at Bramley Point Road, controlled by security guards based on the point of entrance or exit at Old Terrace Road. Only authorised personnel will be allowed to enter the site, and this will be checked by a security guard. 24-hour security will be in place. A total of 4 security guards will, but in a 24-hour period, 2 guards day shift and 2 guards night shift, and 12-hour working shifts. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Round of applause, is that it? Yeah, well done. Bravo, bravo.